So the pre-listing package is one of the most important documents or assets, collateral, whatever you want to call it, in your business. And that could go for any business. If you've spoke to me about marketing, you've probably realized that just about every strategy I use could be used across any business. You could literally be a LASIK surgeon, a babysitter, a hardscape, landscape, stone waterfall installer guy. Really any business under the planet can use a combination of in-market search traffic to a landing page that explains that we have what you want and we can get it to you, and then some kind of proof document for all the people that aren't ready right now. So you get inside of their head and you state your offer very clearly, and they believe you, right? That's the main thing. So look at it like this: a pre-listing package is designed to persuade them to make sure that they at least put you on the interview list. Like ideally, they don't want to interview anyone else, right? That's the perfect scenario, right? They just call you, hey, come list my house. That's ideal. But at minimum, you need to go on the damn appointment. Okay. So when I've seen other people's listing packages, and I'm going to pull up a couple here that are not all that great, but oftentimes, maybe it's just because of graphic design technicalities, they're awful. It looks like amateur hour, and it does not look like something that would be behind like a $20,000 or $50,000 offer, right? Like when you see these things, you'd be like, how the hell is this guy charging 20 grand for advice? Because if he was in any other industry, he would never be able to get the check. So please understand, I'm not trying to pick on the people that I'm, auditing these packages. We're probably going to have a workflow where you can send your package in, and I can do like a video auditing at that. So, if you want that to be shared publicly, that's different than if you don't. Be sure to make sure I'm clear on that when you email. But nonetheless, let's go over some of the nuts and bolts basics. So again, the entire concept is that you pre-frame before you show up. Think of this as like the application to the job. The mental threshold that you should have is completely different than the current mental threshold that agents have, right? Agents have this idea that they're going to charge somebody 6% of their, essentially the most expensive asset in their life. And then they're going to tell them that they're not really paying it because the buyer's paying it, yet the seller's negotiating it, yet the buyer can't negotiate it. Yet if there's no buyer, there is no commission. So it's sort of kind of free, but it's really expensive, but it's not really you that's paying it. It's the most convoluted sale on the planet. Like there is no industry in the world with a more convoluted billing structure and pricing structure than real estate. So I'm not trying to tell people what to charge, but I'm just saying, find something more convoluted than real estate. You can't find it. Okay. So you need to start changing your assumptions. Like mentally make your package and your offer and your pitch so damn good that you could walk out with the check. During the financial collapse, I started doing that, and it blew my office manager's mind that I was literally getting paid up front. I was taking 1% up front and 1% at close. And I was sick of listing properties that would never sell because the people would overprice them. So if you get your sales down, I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it. In that moment in life it was, but I'm just saying mentally change your expectation. Like don't assume that they think you're worth 20 grand or 30 grand or whatever it is that you're charging clients. Like get ready to prove it. Assume you do have competition. Do not assume that the person in your CRM is the only person you're pitching. I've said this in a lot of other videos. The CRM almost always has one person in it, right? First name, last name, cell phone, email. The whole reason you're sending a pre-listing package to your hidden sellers is because you want to grace the desk of the other decision maker, whether it's man or woman, whether it's a gay couple, whatever. But in so many instances, when people are making big decisions about real estate and who they're going to hire, there's not just one person. So going via direct mail is one of the easiest ways to get in front of both decision makers. It has a long shelf life. Like if you walk through somebody's house, I assure you that the shortest shelf life is something via text message, then it's email, then it is probably some kind of direct mail like letter or postcard, then it's something like a magazine, and then after that it's a book. So feel free to challenge me on those assumptions, but look around your house and tell me what sticks around, like books or magazines, or one black and white letter, something like that. Do not worry if they're going to read all of it. I've had a lot of clients look at my package and they go, who the hell would read all that? I wouldn't. Like, okay, you're not the audience. Don't worry about it. If they scroll and flip, that's fine. It just means that there was more value established there. Be ready to pitch both people. Some people are page flippers, and some people read every word. If your package is thin and it only works for a page flipper, like if it's a 8-page thing, you're not going to get as many of the engineers or the people that really want like the nitty gritty. The goal, again, is to increase the appointment rate, right? It is not to tell them the value of the property. It is not to just instantly get the listing without them ever meeting you. When I pitch at the listing appointment, it is not the same thing as the package, like really at all. I'm going to have another video breaking down like the bullet points of the way I do listings. I had my wife up to an 86% close rate when she was like quite literally 23 years old with pimples and braces. So if you're not closing at least half of your listings, you need to change the way that you're doing the appointments and the way you're setting it up. Another key concept is to answer questions that they do not know they have. That's one of the best ways you can become valuable to somebody, is making them aware of something, whether it's an opportunity, a danger, an obstacle, a benefit that they don't otherwise know about. That's really how you start separating yourself from the competition. So make sure to see my other video about question stuffing and how to use that technique when you're on the phone with people and during presentations. I think you'll love it. It's amazing. It can change your conversation length. Like back when I was doing a lot of print ads, my average length of phone call was 7.5 minutes. And I know the national companies that measure these things, like a lot of times it's 1.5 minutes with agents. So if I was, multiples of that national average, it would make sense to model after what I'm saying, because the longer you keep somebody on the phone, the much higher chance you're going to get an appointment and they're going to see a benefit in you, because they will get off the phone if they do not see a benefit. All right, so again, we want to become the most obvious solution to their need, which is selling their house, minimizing their stress, making it predictable. It's not always being the lowest cost. That's not really it. I don't find discounting is a great way to earn business. I've seen a lot of agents try it. We're watching companies like Purple Bricks go out of business. We're watching people go under with it. So I do not think it'd be very wise to lead with that. Please understand that your seller's pitch kit is not a CMA. I've had some clients where we were pounding home value leads, so they're getting a lot of hidden sellers or just straight up sellers. And the client said, hey, it's taken a long time to send these packages. My assistant's doing it, and she's banging out these, CMAs. I would not recommend that. And here's why psychologically. If the seller sees a price, they go deaf to everything else. Like you could have a 50-page pitch, and if on page 1 your house is worth this, you're either dead to them because they think you're undercutting it, or they think, well, maybe this is accurate, maybe it's not. The rest of the information they gloss over, right? So remember, when people are coming into your frame via the 2 core funnels we have set up, right? Niches and neighborhoods, right? Inbound search traffic, they're not looking for an agent. When you find out they're a hidden seller, they don't really, they're not expecting you to show up, right? And then on the home value front, if you're running like home value leads and typical seller leads, the question in their mind was the house value, right? Your solution is how to make that value go up and take away the unpredictability and the stress and get them to their goal. Okay, so with that being said, let me give you some examples of what I see as like kind of normal. All right, so a guide to selling and buying a home. This guy's Ed, he's got some bullet points. He has a promise. I've seen this thing a lot. I think it makes sense. I think this is good, but as I mentioned, if you start with pricing, man, they're typically seeing a realtor, like by default, the consumer, you need to understand that the average consumer sees a realtor like right there with used car salesman. So starting with pricing and like, oh, you should price it attractively, that to the seller, that's like, I don't want to work or do anything. Market's going to be what the hell the market's going to be. I can't swing the market. That's actually the last reason they want to hire you, right? The whole reason they want to hire you is you can push more than the market value. If all you could do is market value, well, they can just list with anybody. So I wouldn't put that in yet. I kind of like it, but I think it's a better slide during the appointment. I think these can kind of have a decreasing importance. Again, activity and price, that's legitimate. I mean, that's true. Again, I would say that for the appointment, I wouldn't do that. Prices, that's fine. It's global. It's not reflected to the total price. Stats, nothing wrong with that. That's okay. Obviously, they would update these. It doesn't really matter that it's not updated for the... Okay, so price trends. Closing costs. I would say in general, this is unintelligible. Meaning somebody could look at this and they're not going to understand how to make a closing cost. Like you could have, if you wanted to, and again, this would be in the appointment. I don't want them thinking about closing costs. I just want to get to the damn appointment. I would not have this. Okay, comprehensive marketing plan. Again, it's marketing that looks like a Word document, so that's kind of an anti-sale. Seller's proceeds, this is pretty good, but again, I would keep the money stuff for at the appointment. So I guess this is, I don't know, maybe the graphic isn't coming up, but all right, showing your property, vacant, occupied. All right, so setting up expectations, moving checklist, that's good in general. I mean, it's ugly. Obviously, he needs just a graphic designer to rip through this. That's all conventional. This is stuff that you see in everybody's package, right? So this is nothing new. Questions asked, yeah, that's good. Keep in mind, all right, so if you look through this, none of this stuff is this guy really responding, right? So this feels completely boilerplate. Like it doesn't really seem like this guy wrote any of this, or it's from his voice. Okay. All right, so at the end, what do we have? Buyers, questions, testimonials. Here's a good point. Testimonials are not believable without last names. Truly, they're not. The fastest way by far to make believable testimonials is screenshot your Zillow testimonials or your Google profile reviews. By far. It's much better than text. And if you are going to use text, use their last name. If your clients have a problem with it, don't. But I've asked my clients and it's never been an issue. But personally, I just don't believe any testimonials that are that unsubstantiated. I do like that he has like the kind of the job that tells you something about somebody, especially with higher end clients. one of the bullet points you'll see me mention in auditing packages is, what people wealthier than me have trusted you with your service. Like, that's huge. If you're selling at 300K, probably not gonna matter. But if you're selling at 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 million, having an A-list celebrity or professional sports athlete or hedge fund manager, that can go a long way. Okay, some more testimonials. All right, at the end of his package, he has no offer. Huge mistake, okay? Whole point, send this damn thing, is go on the appointment. What's the expectation? Where's the phone number? Where's the big ass offer? It's not here. All right, so that one we can put away. Let's grab this other one. And again, I didn't pick super good ones. I'm just picking what I see more often than not. All right, pre-listing information packets. Make this on the right size. Okay, so a little branding on the front. Intro letter, I do like that. I would indent those paragraphs. Having a satisfaction guarantee on the front intro page is great. All right. I'm not sure if you really need sections. I think people just flip. Okay, us versus them, this is great. You definitely want us versus them stats if you have it. If you don't have it, using the office can be good too. If you're new, you really need to use the office stats because you do not want to have the seller perceive that you've never sold houses before. If you do need help with listings, like if you're under 50%, start taking a mega listing agent with you. Just get your freaking close rate up. It doesn't matter that you're going to pay him a referral. You just need to close. So when I was selling, my first 2 years, any listing over $500,000, I would take John Butler, my broker at the time. He's, mega listing agent. He'd carry 85 to 120 listings at a time. I never missed a listing when I went with him. We go together, say, Brian's going to do all the tech stuff and the marketing, and John does the negotiations and the high level stuff, and boom, the audience loved it, the clients love it, I get a listing. Who cares that I'm shaving off some of my fee? It's getting the damn fee that is the most important part. History, okay, so he's going chronologically backwards. Closed sales awards, good stuff. Again, just improving the graphics of this can make this feel more modern. When you see my example, it's pretty much the same kind of list. This should have headshots for sure. It's just too much black and white, and I don't think anyone would actually read that. They would just say, all right, well, there's a team. These myths are good. Is there only 2? Maybe it's slides. Okay, anytime you do a listicle, have more than 2, whether it's 3, 5, 7, 5 lists, 10 like a listicle with like 2 doesn't really make much sense. All right, again, normal stuff like you've seen in other packages. I'm a big proponent of print. I know that so many of you guys would probably be mind blown of that. But I've killed it with print in so many different instances. So that's good. So this is fine. Again, it could be more graphic. Throwing in like a Google Analytics page is a lot more believable, especially if you're pitching anyone with tech. These icons help. Again, this is older, but that helps. It's more graphic. All right, normal stuff. Doesn't seem anything out of the normal. Testimonials. All right, so this guy does have last names. That's good. This is a good moment to mention how to actually get testimonials. When you're getting testimonials, the best way to do it is to write out 1 to 2, maybe even 3 specific things that you did for your client where you went like above and beyond, and largely those are the emotional things that happen for them. So like for And then you pre-frame that client when you ask for the testimonial. Like you say, hey, Julie, just wanted to make sure that other clients that are thinking about hiring me can get an understanding of what it's like to use my service. I thought you might write a quick little testimonial. Remember when we went out and, saw the neighborhoods and, played with your, son at the park, and he felt like he could be welcomed into that community. That's the kind of stuff I like to focus on. It's good to give people an understanding of what it's like to work with me as a human, not just a negotiation machine, ... even though I'm really good at that. Okay, you can tell I'm just freestyling the hell out of this. But if you let people write a testimonial from scratch, you're going to get like a one-line sentence that's like, oh, they did a good job. Like, I had a guy that I worked for like 2 years from out of state. We saw like 25 houses. I got his daughter a freaking job. And his testimonial that came to me was like, Brian did a great job. That was it. Not, Brian kept in touch with me for 2 years. He set up meetings between my accountant, my business manager, my CPA tax guy. He went above and beyond and used his connections in the local market to get my daughter a job. Like, not that I would really want that in the testimonial, because I don't want to set that expectation. But the point being, I like killed myself with this guy, and then I get a shit testimonial, basically. So if you're not pre-framing your testimonials, start doing it. They'll get way juicier when you do. What affects your asking price? Blah, blah, blah. Again, pricing stuff I don't put there. Pricing is almost always negative. It's never enough. There's no number that is enough. Like, sellers always want more. Whatever the number it is, more is really what they want. So anything that is about pricing and like realities of pricing, save that for the appointment. Just bait. Again, location. So this is just normal stuff. Okay, again, this is more like expectation of how you should communicate on the listing appointment, which way the seller wants to negotiate. Not stuff that would go in a pre-listing package. This is kind of cute. I've seen this in numerous cases. It's kind of true. So many people mentally see their properties as different. All right, yeah, that's good. Okay. Again, so at the end, no call to action. They're missing a massive amount of the bullet points that we're going to go through. Again, let's do one more just for reference state, because I hope you're getting a lot out of this. All right, so let's see if we can shrink this down a little bit. Okay, I don't think we can shrink it. Solutions Real Estate Handbook. Okay, I would never have an intro paragraph saying, in addition to my experience of selling 10 homes. That's not enough. I would be terrified to go to like a LASIK surgeon that's only done it 10 times. Like, I don't want to hear that. I'm not saying you should lie to clients, but you could omit things and not shoot yourself in the foot. All right, pre-listing kit. He calls it the ultimate kit, so that's not bad. That's a good way to do it. Blah, blah, blah. Never have anything that is not in line. I don't know if this is the way that he does it. I do like this like flowchart thing. You'll see mine that makes a transaction look really complicated. Like, we handle so many things, and it kind of dissuades them from wanting to go FSBO. But I would not have this sideways. You get a graphics guy to fix that. I would guess that they're not actually going to do this. I kind of like the mental game where he's getting people involved with it. Stimulating their brain by getting them to move their hand is huge. I've done lots of direct mail, and scratch offs were some of my best campaigns. Like, scratch off to see what I sold your neighbor's house for, and then they scratch it off, and then I'm pitching, hey, while you're seeing the price, see how I got more than the other guy, and order my pitch kit. All right, again, people hammering on pricing. This is not what they want to hear. This is not what they want to hear. Sign calls, more money, same thing that everybody says. He's got the pyramid thing. So you guys can see where it seems like everyone's copying everybody else's package. It's the same crap. All right. This is true. There are a lot more factors in pricing than most buyers perceive, so I like a graphic display of that. So many times a seller thinks it's like, well, it's what my neighbor's listed for. Like they don't really look at, mortgage rates and what's happening with, the local job market or where their pricing is on the continuum of income in the area. Like, are you in a resort market or? So that's, I like that. I think it could be cleaned up. I don't think anything's that even, but nonetheless, I do like that. Availability. Again, this is more expectation you set on the appointment, not why they would call you to get to the appointment. Okay, blah, blah, blah. This is all true, but it doesn't come off as a reason why I want to show up. See, like if you have this stuff, a visual representation of it is a lot more compelling. So I don't know if he has it later. I'm doing this on the fly, but having examples of these, again, it just gets to graphic design. It's not really that hard to improve on this. Because I assure you, if you send something like this and somebody gets something like mine, like I'm gonna win. All right, boring stuff. It looks like a lot of legal stuff. All right, again, human images in team shot would be way better here. All right, about him. Oh, so maybe his 10 homes were his own purchases. Maybe I misunderstood that, but how we're compensated. Okay, that's interesting that he has that. Okay, testimonials. Love how juicy these are. Long testimonials are so much more believable. Again, I would add last name. Most of your clients will not have a problem with it. Like the chance that your client really gets a phone call out of somebody getting your package to verify if the testimonial is legit is like, you can get struck by lightning before that actually happens. I love how deep these are. This is great. I would fix it with spacing. I would add a picture of the client and maybe a picture of the house. Again, like I said, one of the best direct mail campaigns I ever did was a 6x12 postcard with 3 clients on it, like smiling in front of their house. Sometimes I was in the picture, sometimes I wasn't. And the scratch off was like, see what these people see the mortgage payment on this property I just sold this client. So it's like glowing review, picture of desired object, and then interactive involvement device to scratch off to see payment. And that payment is not scary. That was a first-time buyer campaign. Prices are scary as hell to first-time buyers. Payments are not. Certified residential specialist. I would have that logo. Maybe there's some kind of NAR building that makes it look like you went to, some kind of university thing. Like I would dress that up. Okay, so again here, but this is like in direct. Okay, so likening yourself to a physician and then having a graphic like this, like just undoes the whole thing. Like for one, if a physician's reading this, they're going to be insulted that you're like even making kind of like that allegation. And then 2, even if they're not, they're going to be like, oh, this is like a rinky-dink thing because you guys have clip art from Microsoft Word. All right, so here comes the logo. Does it cost more? All right, so that's the end of it. So again, no call to action. Quite a few things wrong. So before we go through this, let me show you just in general where the where the big things are that sellers really want to know. How long have you been doing this? Have people wealthier than me trusted you with this process in their lives? What happens if this goes sideways and I want out? What do you do that other agents do not do? Why is it a benefit to me to work with you versus someone else? How long will this take? How much do you charge? Can't I just sell my house to some website for cash? I already know an agent. It would present an awkward social pressure to not hire them. Holy crap. That one is freaking huge. If you guys are not addressing that, that's like 30% of the time you miss a listing is that. So holy heck, add that in your pitch. Copy my page. It's got a great example. Do you have examples where you've succeeded where others have failed? What do people say about you? Can you prove what you say, or are you just running your mouth? Is there a benefit to a national company, or is a hyper-local boutique better? What percentage of the time do you sell your own listings? When should I plan different aspects of my move? What do I do about financing? It's confusing. There's so many options. Okay, so these, after going on hundreds of listing appointments and being on teams where we were carrying 80 to 120 at a time, and at my peak when I was working with different partners, I was at like 30 to 40 listings at a time. So I've been on a hell of a lot of listing appointments. These are the questions they really have. Do you remember seeing any of this stuff in the brochures I just showed you, right? Not really. Some of it, but it doesn't really come across that blunt. Like, I'm considering making a different package where I just like list these like questions, just bold point at the top of the head, and just like, that's it. So that's really what sellers are dying to know. So let me walk you through my package so you can get an idea. All right, so given I'm not in production anymore, this isn't exactly the perfect package, but it's a hell of a lot better than what most people are running. So I keep these in my car, and at the office, there's always 10 to 50 of them ready to go out at any time. There should be no friction between you finding a hidden seller in your CRM or somewhere and you sending a package. Same thing with your out with a buyer. If you're out with a buyer showing properties, 100% of the time you meet with them, they should be leaving with physical materials from you. Because if they have met with other agents and they have physical materials, the chance that they stay top of the mind conscious versus you can come down to the physical material. Agents hate to admit how often they lose business opportunities, and most of the time it's hard for them to learn from their mistakes because people do not point out where they messed up. They just messed up. They don't mention why or how they could earn their business. Okay. So again, basic pitch, the ultimate guide to effective real estate strategies, how to find, buy, sell, and finance your home with the least amount of stress and expense. Okay, so benefit-laden pitch, very clearly outlined, hyper-local photo, corporate branding, smiling, caring, competent couple ready to help, phone number, bold, simple. If you have not heard my pitch for advanced financing, again, that'll be a different video, but I start with 4 pages of heavy-hitting math about the reality of a 30-year fixed rate and keeping a mortgage for like 7 years, and that winds up being like a 90% interest load. So I know in the other examples I said, hey, don't get into math and pricing. Well, that's because that was about their house. I'm talking about financing, and I'm talking about things that I know that they don't know or they're not aware of that makes me the expert. So that's why I open with 4 pages of hard-hitting financing information, because most people will read it and go, holy shit, he's right. If I'm keeping a 30-year fixed at 4% for 7 years, I'm paying a 90% interest load. Like, never thought about that. And there are ways to change your effective interest load. Read this later, but I don't have time to go through it right now. So that's how I open up my frame. So I'm immediately different. I don't know why this thing is not scrolling. All right, so quick look at sales, corporate branding 2-to-1. Resume. So like you saw in the previous examples, a lot of people have some kind of bullet point resume. It just needs to look cleaned up and more modern. It can't look like you knocked it out in Microsoft Word in an afternoon and stapled a thing together. It shouldn't look like that. Hyperlocal photos are huge. By all means, this feels like it was done on purpose and it was done locally. And so again, so my wife, same resume, template outline. Like I mentioned, the quickest way to just knock out a testimonials page is just screenshot the heck out of your Zillow reviews, Google reviews. Here I set up a risk reversal, so fire at us anytime guarantee. That's been true my entire career in real estate. Same with PPC. Any of my clients can cancel in one phone call. So people do not have much fear over hiring me because the way that I set up the agreement is just so easy. These probably should have photos over here if they weren't so long. Again, longer testimonials are far more believable than short ones. I would go with like 10 long ones over 50 short ones for sure. So if you have just a massive number of past clients, don't feel like you got to put them all down. Just cherry pick the best ones and try to make sure that you get something very specific, right? Like, this guy, like I had this other guy, I hired this other guy and he couldn't do it. And then I listed with him and then bam, everything started happening. Again, hyperlocal photo. This works specifically well because so many of the people getting this pitch are in my flow from a digital source. So they come in via Google or Bing, and then bam, this package is on their door. And the website they were on was Explore Las Vegas Homes. So make it look like your website's a bigger deal than it actually is. Just never really hurts. Again, I went hog wild with my site. So these are all the same landing page images. So there's a good chance if they're looking at the fountains, then they flip this through. They're like, oh shit, this guy's like, he's operating freaking everywhere. Because I was just in this sequence and wow, he's on the ball. Again, just the main core elements of the stuff you sell. This could be, cities, new construction, could be anything. This could be if you, so I'm relatively new to Las Vegas area since we moved. So this could be like past client photos. That would be really cool. If you just knocked out like, 50 photos of you with past clients, that would be a hell of a lot of social proof, probably way above a text testimonial. Again, like I said, explain to them why hiring their friend or their buddy is a bad idea. That's huge. These questions are similar to the questions that you saw in the other guy's thing, but the way that I answer it, it's super specific. It's not just like a general boilerplate thing. So that's good. One thing that you'll find that's happening is like this iBuyer movement. So you really need to get ahead of that, not only in your pre-listing package, but you need to get ahead of it for your past clients. Like if you've not sent your clients any information dissuading them from selling to an iBuyer and giving them some like horrible examples of it going wrong or people getting like, ripped off in equity, you're leaving a massive gap and a huge threat to your business is percolating every day and you might not be aware of it. I do have a template letter for that. So what I'm trying to state here, and again, this is a little bit old now. I'm sure that Zillow has acquired, a bunch of these, but is that it's just the bait and switch, right? Like during the collapse, there's all these fly-by-night infomercial guys, and the reality is they're not going to give you a offer that you couldn't best by other sources. So I'm just trying to remind them of that. Visual presentations are huge. So here I've got the top 5 reasons homes don't sell: lazy agent, cheap photos, presentation, pricing, and negotiation styles. Those are the ones that I found. Notice that does not mirror the other people's packages where they're like, oh, it was the seller's problem, or like, try to solve it from the other example. Like, these are actually images of houses at 5.5 million and 3.9 million. Like, that's embarrassing. Same thing like with this example. So these houses do not look like the same price, yet they are, right? Just the way that the photography was done, it dramatically changes the perceived value and perceived appeal. Again, big images are huge. So, this is my before, kind of typical agent. This is what your subdivision marquee is going to look like. This is what it's going to look like with me. Bam. That also happens to be the entryway shot on the landing page for this. So again, if somebody's in the sequence, like, they think I am deep in this neighborhood. Whether I am or not is a different reality. This goes back to, where have you succeeded where other people have failed? This is a slam dunk page. People love to see before and afters. They like to watch the home flip shows. All those things are total candy to them. And it's very easy for the brain to imagine why the second one was better. It's just so easy to understand, be like, yeah, like, this guy does a better job with marketing and it sells, and before it didn't, and marketing was the problem. It's that simple. I've always bought clients a home warranty for listings. It's a really simple thing to do. I don't think it's ever going to really cost a whole lot of money. I think you pick it up in ease of transactions and your benefit and your pitch to sellers. You can decide whether or not you want to do that. But again, just local branding. I needed a placeholder page because a flip book like this is only going to print in layouts of like 8. So you might need to do some filler pages. This is just organized for some check boxes in time. I don't know if anyone really grabs a pen and fills it out, but at least it gives them idea. Again, hyperlocal image, more check boxes. This page is really simple. So you can go to your Google Analytics and strip a image like that in 30 seconds. When you tell somebody something, there's a chance that they believe you. When you show somebody something with like data, the likelihood that they believe you just goes up dramatically. So whether you're presenting your Google Analytics data to a seller like live, and you're feeding it back to them like, you're in the sequence because of your desire, and that's how I market. I don't just wait for something to happen. I'm very proactive with clients. So not only, are you looking for a property here, and that's why I'm, at your house today, but thousands of other people are doing the same thing. So with my VIP buyer service, I can go ahead and match those up, right? Like, this seems so much more real than if you just tell somebody that and you don't have analytics. So that's a really good way to do that. Matterport tours and that kind of thing, I think they should be pretty well standardized. You shouldn't really have any pushback on that. If you're at low price ranges, might not be needed. I don't think it could hurt you on the normal stuff. If you do miss a listing because of that, that's like one of those things where you don't realize that the revenue you didn't spend cost you your future revenue versus what's happening. Statistically speaking, people are far more likely to do business with other people that donate to charities. If you look at the demographic, psychographic things that tilt audience opinions, like if you look at what politicians do, why are they hugging babies? Why are they doing all these things? It's because of psychology. So wherever you are, whether you're Keller Williams or Remax or Century 21, there's something that your corporate company does like it could be the Susan G. Komen Foundation or like something. We'll take credit for the corporate money that's being flooded into those systems. I donate to different nonprofits as well. I'm not saying I donated 147 million. Hell, I haven't made anywhere close to that or remotely that. But I'm saying that you need to make sure that you use your corporate assets to persuade people, because you're already doing these things and it costs you something at corporate. So inserting it into your marketing is just really common sense. So here's just, a one-page thing out of the download of, Remax Corporate, and then bam, local image. So this page basically is kind of, the goal is to dissuade them from thinking they can do it themselves, and also substantiate like the complexities involved in the real estate transaction, right? Like if their previous thought was, well, I'll just throw it on Zillow myself, and they get to this page, they might go, oh shoot, it's like a lot of moving parts. Like, how does all that happen? How does this, where's the paperwork for all, like, this helps them understand that we don't just throw a sign in the ground and make 20 grand. Like, there's a lot of other things that happen, and there are a lot of things that need to happen in the right timeline with the right legal structures and the right, disclosures to keep transactions going. This is one of the most important parts of the pitch. And the reason I say not 6% is because I want to open loop. If you do not say anything about how much you charge, I assure you, they will assume you charge 6%. Now, however, I don't want to say, hey, I charge 5 or 4, because then somebody at 3 automatically beats me. But if I leave an open loop, how much do you charge? Not 6%. Then they're like, huh? Well, how's that? What the hell? Right? So I charge based on difficulty of sale. That's why I need to come over, right? I need to see the house and I need to meet the seller. And after I know those two things with the seller's price range, then I can figure out what I need to charge. So I'm not saying that you should bullet point how much you do charge. I'm saying you should make sure that you're aware that if you do not say anything, they're just going to by default assume that you charge 6%. Okay, so take that as a little psychology lesson. Some simple bullet points at the end: maximum exposure through Remax, cancel at any time, no advance fees, no pressure, flexible commission structure. Again, I charge based on difficulty, full syndication. Buying program 2. I give this package to everybody, whether they're selling or buying. I probably should have made a better buyer's package, but this never hurt. So that's real simple there. All right, last page, again, hyper local, and then call to action. Right, so you noticed every other thing I reviewed didn't even have the expectation at the end of what to do, right? So this is basically just kind of the outro letter. We've got a lot of experience, all price range, ready to help. We've set the expectations. Give us a call. So that's the back page. So there's nothing really on that, but just again, branding. So if this thing's upside down or front side up, the branding's still there. Probably should have threw the blue background border there just to make this stand out more. But pathway shot, kind of psychological. People want to be on the right path and have somebody take them down the right path. So little double layer of psychology there. So I hope you find this video helpful. Do check the links below for additional bullet points and comments and thoughts, but you should be making a killer pre-listing package and send it to everybody who is in your sequence with a buy-side keyword who is a hidden seller, or anybody who is in your home value or seller campaign inside your county. That's it. Again, Brian Short at Real Estate Training Labs.